Good evening and welcome you all to today's session of ICPC AlgoQueen on competitive programming and its importance. Live regional rank holder, Ms. Sneha SS. Before we start, please note that if you have any questions, queries at the end of the session. Today, we have with us Ms. Sneha Sridhar, who is currently doing her Vidyapeetham Coimbatore. She has participated throughout her undergraduate degree and secured ranks 24 and 25 in 2019, Pune and Kanpur regionals, and she will be joining Google as a software engineer in July 2021. Further, I Ms. Sneha to deliver the session. Over to you.
Thank you, Naja, and thank you so much for that introduction. I would like to start off by saying I'm really glad I got to do this session and be helpful for school students and other college students who are starting with competitive programming. I started competitive programming when I was in my school, and I couldn't have been well versed in that and participate in competitions in ICPC and also with respect to my placements. So I couldn't have done that without the help and the guidance I got from my seniors and my faculty members. So I'm happy that I'm able to repay that to my juniors and the school students who are striving to learn competitive programming. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and to everyone out there. So this session, I'm going to give a introduction to competitive programming, what it basically stands for, and why it's important. So this AlgoQueen is a girls programming championship contest that is being conducted for school students and specifically for girls, to encourage girls in the coding field, because as we know, there are not many girls present in this field. The ratio between the number of girls and boys is huge, and this is one such effort to bridge that gap and encourage more girl students to start coding and delve into competitive programming. So to start off, this is the basic agenda that I've prepared for today, and I'll start with a little bit background about myself, what Neja told, and about what competitive programming is and how it helps one to acquire problem solving skills, and why is that problem solving skill very important for a person in this career line. And I'll also talk about its importance from placements and job perspective, career perspective, and I'll also end with some resources and materials to start competitive programming with, for the beginners who are trying to start learning competitive programming and start solving problems. So about myself, I started competitive programming in my 12th grade, and the reason for that was because I was participating in this competition called IOI. I'll talk more about IOI and ICPC further in the session. And so that's when I started with competitive programming. And the first thing that drew me to competitive programming was how logical it was. Actually, if you start doing and if you start getting many problems right, you will, once you get the hang of it, you will find it very interesting for those who like to solve puzzles and who like to indulge in logical thinking and problem solving, etc. So that's when I really started to like competitive programming, and I continued it throughout my college as well. I participated in INOI and ICPC, so I've been to 3 regionals, Kharagpur when I was in my second year, and Kanpur and Pune in my third year. And as Neja mentioned, I secured ranks 24, 25, around 20 in the last couple of regionals in my third year. And apart from that, I had done 3 internships, one at American Express and Microsoft, and I'm also doing one internship now at Amazon. And post this, I'll be joining Google in July as a software engineer. So this is a brief intro about myself. And if we look at what actually competitive programming means, it's basically a competitive approach to problem solving through coding. What I mean by problem solving through coding is say you have a problem. So in day-to-day life, all of us encounter many problems, and we solve those problems by using instances of logical thinking and analytical thinking, etc. So if the problem is of a small scale, then it's possible for our human mind to comprehend the problem and then come up with a solution. What if the problem which we have is at a very large scale? Say, as a simple example, we are trying to add three numbers. If it's just three numbers, we can easily compute the sum in our mind and get the result. What if you're trying to process millions of numbers? In that case, we need the help of a computer to do what we want to do. And we instruct the computer to follow the process to get the output that we want. So when we look at problems at a large scale, we take the help of computers to solve our problems. And teaching the computer to solve these problems that humans face in their day-to-day life is called coding in simple terms. And how do we convey what we want the computer to do? We do that by using a language which the computer understands. Just like humans communicate using languages that two people or a group of people who are communicating know, same way we have to communicate with the computer using a language that it understands, and that language is called as a programming language. There are many programming language like programming languages like C, C++, Java, Python, and we can use any of these languages to start with competitive programming and coding. So I'll give an example of a problem. Say we want to travel from a point A to point B. We as humans, we know that the shortest distance to travel between 2 points is the displacement, the direct Euclidean distance between these 2 points. Say there's a blocker in between the path that you choose to take between these 2 points. What would we do then? We'll look at the next shortest path between these 2 points. Say there are many such blockers present. Then how would we calculate what is the shortest distance to reach B from A? That's where a computer comes into picture. It becomes difficult for humans to calculate the shortest path, and hence we use the help of a computer. We provide the inputs that we have at our hand, and we tell the computer what to do, how to exactly calculate the shortest path. And there comes in the concept of algorithms. So there are many algorithms for many problems that we face in the day-to-day life, in our day-to-day lives, and we have to pick one such algorithm which is the most optimized for the current use case that we have, feed it to the computer along with the inputs, and the computer would give us the output for the problem that we have at our hand. Another example, what if the points A and B are divided by rectangular path of roads? So these are the different roads that are present, and you can only travel from A to B by taking these roads. We can't use the direct displacement distance between the 2 points. What would we do then? So we know that if in this case, when there is a grid-like pattern, the shortest distance between 2 points is the Manhattan distance between A and B. So what if we notice what has been happening here with each problem, the complexity increases. There's a new hindrance to solving that problem. Case from what was there before. So previously we didn't have this grid-like road structure. Now we have that grid-like road structure, and we had blockers in the previous case. Now we don't have any blockers. We can as well introduce some blockers into this case as well. So what are these different cases? These cases are called as test cases in competitive programming. So these different cases, there will be so many cases like this, like these in our real life, and all these cases have to be accounted for when we are trying to solve a problem. That is, the solution that we provide the computer must solve and give the correct solution for all such test cases. And for that, we take the help of coding. We tell the computer what to do and take the help of the computer to solve these problems for us. This is basically called coding. This is what one does when they say they are coding. And competitive programming, how it comes into this picture is it's basically a competitive way of doing coding. We can call it as a sport, just like we have different sports for swimming, running, etc. This is a sports for coding. There are many competitions and contests conducted both online and offline where the candidate, they will be given a set of problems and they'll have to come up with the most optimized solution for those problems. I'll go on in detail about what I mean by most optimized. And one other thing is there would be time constraint associated with every competition or contest. It may be a long challenge, like it can go on for 10 or 12 days, or it could be a shorter challenge where you have to solve the given set of problems in 2 hours, 3 hours, or 5 hours. So, sample optimization problems. What I mean by giving the most optimized solution. Say this is a simple example. So there are 1,000 books in a library, and all these books are arranged in the alphabetical order. And we want to read Harry Potter book, say the Chamber of Secrets. How would we search for this book in the library? There are many solutions. We can search for this book using many possible ways. One is the least optimized solution, which is we can go pick every book in the library and see if it's Harry Potter, the Chamber of Secrets. And how many steps would that process have? 1,000 steps, because the library has 1,000 books. And that is the most least optimized solution that we can come up with to search this particular book. What else can we do? Just like we have page numbers in a book. So say you want to go to page number 100. You flip open the book and say you're at page number 70. Then you flip few pages so that you can go a little bit further. Say you're at 120. What you'll do, we'll flip some more pages back and then go back, and finally eventually we'll land at the page number that we want, 100. Similarly, in a library we go and take a book and say it starts with C and our book starts with H. So we have to go a few rows further to see to pick books from another alphabetical row that is greater than C. Say we have come to R, that is greater than H, what we want. So we go back. So this is actually one algorithm that we use during coding, and it's called as binary search. What we essentially do here is, instead of going through every element present in the set that we have, we pick one, and using that particular index we go for another index where we know that the book is guaranteed to be present, because we have the given information that the books are arranged in alphabetical order. So since it's guaranteed it's arranged in alphabetical order, when you pick a book of alphabet C, you know that the Harry Potter book would not be present anywhere between the first row and this particular row that we are searching at. So this is one information that we can take advantage of and reduce the complexity and the number of steps in finding the solution. What if the books are not arranged in alphabetical order? How would we go about this then? We can, as we discussed before, look at each one of the 1,000 books, which is not optimized as we know. What the other solution that we can go ahead with is sorting. So say you want to pick a book only once. In that case, we can go over the 1,000 books and then pick one. But what if you want to pick 100 times in 100 different days? Would we still do the same procedure for 100 times? No. So that's where sorting comes into picture. So just like binary search versus search optimized algorithm, sorting we do for optimizing any calculation or any objective that we need to overcome, or the goal to achieve the objective or the goal that we set. So if we sort these books in alphabetical order from the next time onwards for the rest of the 99 days, when you want to search for a particular book, you can easily go to that row using the binary search algorithm and fetch that book alone. So these are some of the ways which we can optimize a solution that we have at hand. And in these competitive programming contests, the most optimized solution would give you the maximum points. Say you're having a lesser optimized solution that would take, say, 1 second to execute. Given you have given the computer the input and you've given the code, which is the procedure the computer needs to follow to give you the required output. Say your solution takes 1 second to complete and someone else's solution takes only 10 milliseconds to complete. It means that their solution is more optimized than your solutions, and that solution would get a higher points during a contest or a competition. So this is what I meant by coming up with the most optimized solution for a particular problem during a contest. And all this has to be done under the given time constraint. There is the 2 hour time constraint or the 5 hours time constraint in which you can solve a contest's problems. So next thing, which is how does CP help acquire problem solving skills? So as we have been discussing all along, competitive programming is basically problem solving. We are solving a problem that which we have at hand using coding and getting the help of the computer to solve our problem. And solving more and more problems gives one the exposure to different combinations and different situations in which problems can arise. And thus, by practicing more and more problems, it directly impacts your problem solving skills. And hence, while doing more competitive programming contests and doing more problems, you're directly increasing your problem solving abilities and your logical thinking abilities, etc. So it's just like solving a puzzle. The same parts of your brain get activated when you're doing competitive programming as well. And next thing is the importance of competitive programming from placements and job perspective. So as we know, all huge companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, etc. So their selection process and the interview process mainly focuses on problem solving. So all their interviews, except for a few of them, would require you to solve problems just like we do in competitive programming. The interview gives you a problem and you'll have to come up with the most optimized solution, discuss the different trade-offs present between the different solutions that you suggest, and come up with the time and space complexity of your solution. That is how much time your solution takes to run and how much memory it occupies in the system. So majorly these big companies interview process would follow a similar kind, and hence one who has done competitive programming in the past will have an edge over the others and will have no trouble acing these rounds. And some of the smaller companies, even they have their first primary qualifier round to be a coding contest. So doing CP will always give you an advantage over the others when it comes to placements and job perspective. There are some other important skills that are needed for getting a job in software development apart from just coding. One equally important skill is your soft skills. You have to basically work on your soft skills, and that comprises of communication and leadership. There are interviews where you'll have to indicate or showcase your leadership qualities, and without good communication skills, even though we have solved many problems and we know what's the solution of the problem at hand, it's difficult to make the other person understand that without proper communication skills. You'll need to think out loud during the interview process. There is whatever steps that you're thinking in your mind, you'll have to be vocal about it so that the other person also understands what you're trying to do. And apart from that, development and doing projects, that those are also important for some companies. Some companies have rounds like hackathons and project development, or they look at your open source contributions. So these are some of the different areas apart from competitive programming one can focus in the perspective of getting a job. So you can do open source contributions, and you can have a GitHub profile and make as many contributions as possible. And you can add all these things in your resume so that you can highlight it to the interviewer or the employer to tell them what you're good at basically. And we can do projects and participate in hackathons. Apart from that, one other important skill that I have found to be useful is networking. So it would help to create a profile on LinkedIn and network with as many people as possible. So before the COVID situation, there used to be offline events like tech events and tech exhibitions. So those are good places and opportunities to network with people from varied positions in this line of career. So we can talk to them and learn more about their experience and how their career path has been. So I found all these to be personally very helpful for me in my path to the career that I've chosen. So these were some of the call outs that I had, which I thought would be helpful for those who are viewing this. So, apart from that, coming to the resources and materials that one can follow to start with computer programming. So, there are lots of resources and materials available online, and these are some of the um, online judges, I would say. So online judge is basically a place where there are a set of problems. You go, you read the problem statement, which is the context behind that problem, and we think about the solution and code that solution and submit it. So the online judge would run your solution against the set of input that it has, and it verifies if your code produces the same output as the correct output file that they have. So this is how basically an online judge works. And these are some of the online judges where you can go and practice many problems to learn computer programming. So when we are coming to competitions, there are two major competitions, I would say. One is IOI, which is for school students mainly. And the different levels in IOI are the first level would be ZIO or ZCO, which is Zonal Informatics Olympiad or Zonal Computing Olympiad. So both of those are the preliminary stage to get qualified and appear and participate in Indian Olympiad in Informatics. So ZCO is just like a coding contest, but ZIO is a little bit different. You'll have 4 problems, and we'll have to manually compute the solution and submit the solution. It doesn't involve coding. The next stage is INOI, which is Indian National Olympiad in Informatics. So that is a proper computer programming contest, and upon clearing that, you will get to attend the IOI bootcamp. And once from the IOI bootcamp, a set of students would be shortlisted, and they can participate in Indian National Olympiad in Informatics. Indian Olympiad in Informatics, IOI. So this is a very good platform for school students who have started with computer programming or who are planning to start with computer programming. So you can solve a few problems, see if it interests you, and if you're basically interested in computer science, I would say this is a very good opportunity to explore if you're still at school. And if you're at college, the equivalent to IOI is ICPC, which is International Collegiate Programming Competition. So that also has different levels. The online qualifier round, which is an online round, computer programming contest basically. You will have a set of problems, and the best teams from each college will get selected to go to the regionals. And regionals is a 5-hour contest, and each team can appear at max at 2 regionals. So it's a team contest basically. IOI is an individual contest, and ICPC is a team competition. And regionals would be a 5-hour long contest where the similar pattern is followed. You have to solve problems, as many problems as you can, and the top teams get to participate in world finals. So these two competitions are very, very prestigious competitions, and if you're able to um, clear even a few levels, then that would be a major prestigious thing, which you can add to a resume and showcase to uh, to get your skills out. So these are two competitions which I would say are very helpful and would give you great visibility to the outside world. And coming to online judges, these are some of the online judges: Coach F and Code Forces. So these two are the online judges that I used to solve problems majorly in. And apart from that, we have Top Coder, Hacker Rank, Hacker Earth, etc. And there's also Geeks for Geeks, which is not only for competitive programming, but it has blogs and resources on different areas in computer science, different fields like machine learning, development, whatever it is. It has blogs on. It will be contributed by people like us, and it will have blogs and resources on almost all the topics in computer science. And we also have Lead Code, which I would not say particularly is concerned with competitive programming, but Lead Code is a better place if you're planning to prepare for your placements or for job interviews. So that line of problem solving is a little bit different than competitive programming. And if you are just about to participate in any interview or you're going to sit for placements, then Lead Code is a very good place where you can go and solve problems to get yourself familiarized with such kind of problems that you'll encounter during your job interview process. Where to start? So this is a question that I've often been asked at many times by many of my juniors, and I would say this is one very good place to start. So I didn't have this resource when I started with competitive programming, and this is such a cumulative resource. It's very well organized and it touches all the main basic parts, and there is topics basically like searching, sorting, graph, trees, etc. So this covers all the basic parts which you will have to touch base upon for getting to learn competitive programming. So this is basically exam CCD-SAP, which is CoachF Certified Data Structures and Algorithms program. So there are three levels to this program: Foundation, Advanced, and Expert. So this exam, it'll just be like a programming contest where you'll have a set of problems. You have to go and solve those problems. It's a paid exam. You'll have to pay for it, and if you go and you're able to solve those problems and get points which is greater than the cutoff, then you will be CCD SAP qualified, certified, and you can showcase that on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile, etc. So as part of this exam, CoachF has a very comprehensive syllabus and also learning resources, which is this link. You can go to this link, or you can do a simple Google search for CCDSAP foundation exam syllabus, and you land upon this page. So this has lots of I can show you. So this is the one. This has lots of learning resources and YouTube tutorials where you can learn algorithms and concepts. And there are also practice problems for each topic. So this is the resource and practice problems available on arrays and strings, stacks, queues. These are the different topics that are available in competitive programming and coding basically. And this has a tutorial on basic math operations, etc. And similar syllabus would be available for advanced as well. Once you take up, you can also take up mock tests that are present here before appearing for your exam. And once you've cleared your foundation, you can then proceed to taking the advanced exam and then to the expert exam. And this is the ICPC site. You can go here and read more about ICPC if you're at college and if you want to start solving problems and start getting into competitive programming. And this is IOI's page. You can do a simple Google search and you'll land upon all these resources. So yeah, these are the things that I thought would be helpful for people starting with competitive programming. And if you're in your school and if you are interested, please do participate in AlgoQueen. So, as I mentioned before, it's a competition, but it's only for girls, and you can go and participate. And there are great prizes for the top rankers. They'll get a chance to directly participate in ICPC World Finals, as far as I know. So, this is a great platform which you can take help from and utilize for getting better at this field. So these are the things that I had from my side, and thank you so much for attending this session. I hope it was useful for you.
Thank you, Sneha. Thank you for such a wonderful session. It was really informative, and I just really liked the session. So now, without further ado, let's move to the Q&A. So the first question from the students is, which language we should focus? Sneha, can you hear
Um,
me?
yeah, your voice broke off in the middle.
Yeah. Which language we should focus on?
Okay, yeah, that is a great question, and I've often been asked this question multiple times before. So, if you're a beginner and you're just now starting the computer programming and you're looking to pick some languages, I would say go with C++. The reason being, C++ is better than C and faster than C, and Python also. Python is much more easier to understand. Actually, Python, if we understand English, then it's easy to learn Python. It's very intuitive, and you can catch it up easily. But why I don't prefer Python is because it is sometimes slower, and the counterpart solutions in C++ and Java would execute in a much shorter time. And many people whom I know are Python programmers would choose to shift to C++ or Java for competitive programming. So if you're just starting now, then I would say go for C++. But if you're already well versed in any other programming language and you want to stick with it, then you may as well go ahead with it. Basically, any programming is you can choose any programming language, but if you're starting, I would prefer C++. That's a personal choice.
Thank you, Sneha. The next question is, are these competitions language specific?
Okay, yeah, they would be language specific, but there would be a lot of languages which you can choose from. And these four languages that I mentioned would definitely be there. And apart from that, you can code in C sharp and Go and JavaScript also, I guess. But those are a little bit not that frequently used. But these four major programming languages, any of these language which you choose, you will be able to code in the language of your choice. There will be options which you can choose from.
Okay, great. Thank you. The next question is, can I learn Python without coaching? Which is the best book or platform for learning Python by own?
Okay, yeah, of course you can learn Python on your own. There are, as I said, tons of learning resources available online for doing the same. And since I'm not a Python programmer, I don't know of any good resources or books that you can go from. But you can simply do a Google search and get to know, read more blogs. So medium.com and Quora, there are many great answers there which will help you in starting with Python and also many other things. So you can search online for resources and start with it. But since I am not a Python programmer, I'm not sure of which book to suggest. But yeah, you can easily search for them online. I hope that answered the question. Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah. And there are actually two more questions that I'm often asked by my juniors. One is when is the ideal time to start? And I would say as early as possible. If you have more time, you can solve more problems and gain more expertise over it. But if you are in your, say, third year in your college, and if you're in your third year, you will have to sit for placements and start doing internships in 6 months or a year. In that case, I would say you can directly start with Geeks for Geeks and problems on lead code, which are much more placement and interview focused, if that is the career line that you're choosing. And if not, if you're much earlier, like in your first year or second year, or even better if you're in your school, then you can start with doing problems on Code Chef and Code Forces. So this is one question. Another thing which also I wanted to point out was I have been asked many times by my juniors which path to choose. Like, should you focus completely on competitive programming, or should you do development and do projects and participate in hackathons, etc. And I would say it actually is. It varies from person to person. Some people may be interested in doing different projects and participating in hackathons. Maybe that is something that they would really like. And some people would love solving problems and doing competitive programming. So it is based upon one's own liking and what they find very interesting to do. Having said that, coding and problem solving is important, and I think you shouldn't completely ignore it if you are in this field, because um, if you are going to sit for placements and if you're going to choose the career path where you're going to work at some company, then as I mentioned before, a prowess in problem solving will go a long way. So that being said, I feel one shouldn't completely ignore competitive programming, but you may feel free to pursue any path that uh, you find interesting, like development, hackathons, projects, etc. So these were two other things that I thought I should call out. Okay, great. All right. Yeah, so thank you so much for attending this session. I hope it was useful for you, and I hope I can do many more sessions in the future and be helpful. If you want to contact me after watching this session, you can go to my LinkedIn profile, give me a request, and send a message along with your request, and I'll be more than happy to guide any of you to start with competitive programming, or any to clarify any doubts that you may have. This is my profile /in/Sneha hyphen Sridhar. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And yeah, and if you're in your school and if you're a girl, don't miss out on AlgoQueen. Go and participate. All the best. My best wishes for everyone who are watching this session.